Good morning. Yes, I'm Josh. As True was just saying, yes, I'm the Junior Manager for the electrical side of our company. So I've been working with the SpendWatt company for probably the last 3 or 4 months, developing them with this program that we've got here. So we're the first ones to use this technology and be on board, and as we're going through it, we're actually doing live site visits with this platform, and we're showing them how it's working, and then we're giving them positive feedback and negative feedback on how this all works and how it's helping the communities. Pretty much all the feedback we got back from this has been great, because some people have an idea of how their energy is consumed and how it's used, but this dives into it a lot deeper. There is a lot of numbers up here. There was a lot more, but we've got rid of a lot of it because some of it was just too overwhelming. So the whole idea of this platform is that, like Trent was saying, when you drop in your electricity bill, it'll come to me. From that, we can ask permission from you if I can use your NMI number. So what that means is that's your meter number that's attached to your meter. So what that will do is that will give me access to gather 12 months of data from your smart meter. So I can go into the back end, I can retrieve that smart meter data, and it's just a bunch of zeros and ones. I can't read it, but this platform can. So once we put that data in, that will then that will change this whole pattern of how the electricity is used throughout your home. So obviously that data is only for electricity only. Now this was really good. We had one customer where they wanted to get as much solar as they wanted on the roof because their electricity bills were extreme. They have an infrared sauna in their house. Now they were using the infrared sauna twice a day. So I'm like, no worries. So they gave me one of their electricity bills. I put it in, and it showed us a pattern similar to this. And then I asked them if I can use their NMI data, because they were being truthful to me and telling me exactly when they were using their power. So once I put their data in, this graph dramatically changed. And if we were looking at a day view, they were using majority of their power at about 7 o'clock in the morning, and then when they come home from work, they were using it at about 7 o'clock at night. So they were consuming the most amount of power early in the morning and in the afternoon when there was no sun. So I said to him, putting the biggest solar panel systems on your roof is not really going to help you, because you're not at home at all using your solar. So this is what we need to think about. So we're not just here to go, let's just put the biggest system we can on your home and cost you all this money. We actually want to find out what your usage is. Are you at home during the day? Because we need to tailor make this to you guys. At the same time, what the Flinders bulk power program is doing too is we're trying to put solar on the roof to eventually get that solar back into the battery grid system. So then when you guys need it, we can draw that power back from the batteries and go into your homes. So that is the goal of what we're trying to do as well. And the reason with this bulk power program, we're just trying to get as many people on board to go, I guess, with us, because that way we can get the price down as much as we can with the bulk buy and put solar on your house. But at the same time, just remember, we're not here to just put as many panels as we can. We really are going to come and tailor make this to your energy needs. So like I said with that scenario, there's no point putting the biggest system on if you're not at home at all during using it. So typically what we got up here, I'm just going to play around the screen as it moves up on here. So we can see their electricity profile here. So not only does this program use your current retailer, so this current retailer here is AGL on this platform. So what this system does is this system will switch your retailers, because that is a very big important thing. Don't stay loyal with one retailer, because they won't stay loyal with you. So this program searches the entire database of all energy retailers on the market. Compare the market and things like that. They only search a selected few of actual retailers, where our system searches every single retailer available to you. So once we've gone through the energy profile and we've chosen a solar system to put on your roof, we'll then hit the switching button, which I believe if I swap to this side. So so the switching button here is up in the top right. So if I hit that, this will change the payback period in that, because this will select a different retailer suited to your needs. So if you're not using as much solar and you're putting solar back into the grid, this will find the best retailer who pays you the most money to put power back to the grid. Or if you're consuming as much power as you want, then it will adapt and choose the retailer for that. So let's just hit this button and see what it's doing. So at the moment, we've got a 4.6 year payback period. If we're just going to get solar, we're getting quite a few things here. So it's just loading at the moment. So at the moment, this is comparing every single retailer on the market, and then this will spit out and tell us the new retailer to go with, and it should bring down your payback period. If I still have internet, still loading. Where are we going here? No, this is not working.
It may have already updated because we looked at the solution yesterday and it had a 5.2-year payback and now it's showing 4.6. So just to show you the comparison, it's because we're using a demo account. We've already applied this.
Yep. So what we have here, so now I've just gone into the gas profile. So we were in the electricity profile. Now we're just going into the gas profile. So what we can do here is that we're actually looking at what type of appliances you have in this home. So in this instance, we've got a cooking appliance, hot water, and heating and cooling. So we need to understand, this is when we come in, we need to understand what percentage of the gas you're using. So for cooking, 9% is more of a realistic figure because you really only have your gas cooker turned on when you're cooking, as opposed to your hot water and heating. Your hot water is running at least twice a day to heat the water, and your heating is the biggest one that consumes the most gas because that's burning a lot of flames to get that heat pumping through the home, where a hot water system uses a smaller ring of flames to get that hot water going. But again, they're operating about between 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how much water you're using. So we can put in these figures here, which gives us a percentage, and then that's how, as we start to go through and remove those gas appliances, we know that we're going to be removing 9% of your gas bill if we're just going to go to an induction, or if you only want to go to a heat pump, where you're going to removing 37% of your gas bill to go to a heat pump system there. Now, there is the fueling here. So what this is talking about, this is just not necessarily, we don't sell cars, but if this is an option that if you were to get rid of your diesel or petrol car and go to an electric vehicle and then charge your car at home during the day when you're producing the solar, which is ideally the best case scenario. So I didn't really know this until I started putting all this data in myself, but I had no idea that my car was costing me so much money every year, more than all my house bills put together. So just the operation of filling it and maintenance and servicing is quite large. And then in the other scenario, if there's any other factors that we need to take in place. So in this case, we've got Joe's car. This is just a demo customer. So Joe's car is costing us $765 a year in maintenance. So we can't put those figures in there. So obviously, when you go to an electric vehicle, you're not having to pay for servicing and maintenance because they don't have an engine. So there's no oil changes or anything like that to be done. So when we jump across into this platform now, so once we've gathered all your data and we've given you some options of solar and what we can fit on your roof, this is where we'll come across to here, and this is where Trent was saying before. You'll get access to this yourself when we send you an email, so you can then sit at home and play around and do whatever you want with it. You can switch off things, so if you don't want any of this stuff, you can just turn it off, turn the heating off, turn the heat pump off, and then therefore we've only just got solar. So this is currently a 7.9 kilowatt system, and then it shows you real time there what your savings are per annum, and on the left hand side your total savings there, as well as your CO reduction. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh yes, that's going to cost me $8,700 to get this solar system put on. Let's just see if I was to put and it's going to give you a 5.5 year payback. If we're going to put a heat pump into the equation, just by adding a heat pump, you're saving more, and it brings your payback period from 5.5 years down to 4.6. Some of you might ask, how does that happen? Because you've added another appliance, but now it's cheaper and it's quicker to pay back. That's because your gas, remember the percentage that we're talking about on here? So your gas for your hot water service was 37% of your bill. So we've effectively just taken 37% of your gas bill away, and now we're using the energy that you're producing from the sun, and then to heat up that system. So with the heat pump systems, these can operate only during the day if we set them to that. So they're only going to be utilising free power from the rooftop solar. So that's why your payback period gets better, because you're now using your electricity to power your hot water, and you're not paying a gas bill anymore for that system. So that's the power that the system has, and as you start to go through, you can add in items. So if we were to just simply change out a gas space heater and just put in a split system, it brings that your payback period down again, 4.2 years. And then if we were to change it to a gas cooking to induction, it goes up slightly because at the moment there are no rebates on gas to induction cooktops. So once those rebates come out, we'll apply those rebates to the system, and then you'll see that payback period drop. Everything that we're doing here attracts rebates, as Trent was saying. So this has already been factored into this. So and that's how it gives you the price in here. And then, as Trent was saying, if we're going to put a battery on, because there's no real rebates on batteries at the moment, and they are quite expensive. If we were to put a battery, this is a 13.5 kilowatt Tesla Powerwall. If we were to add this into the equation, it bumps up quite a lot, and it puts you back up at 6.9 years payback. So it's just really good to look at, do you really need a battery in this scenario for your own home, or depends on how your energy consumption is being used in your home. If you're at home during the day and that, then you're not going to really need a battery because you're consuming all your power at home. So we can take that off, drops it back down, and if we wanted to play around, if you did put all your details in there for the car, you can just say, if you did go get rid of your car and go to all electric, you can see what that will do. So there you go, you've got yourself a brand new car and your payback period's only 5.3 years on everything there. That's with the assumption that you've traded a vehicle in and only paying a gap for whatever the price is for a new vehicle. But this is now taking into consideration that you will be refueling this vehicle at home using your solar. So that's how it works. That's just a quick run through about the system. Obviously, if we do get to the stage where we do come out and have a one-on-one chat with you, we'll go into more detail and we'll have all your assumptions in here and your electricity and gas bills put into the system. And on the side here, this is a typical panel. These are the panels that we prefer to use. This is a 475 watt panel. We do use the 440 watt panels. They're slightly smaller. We only use them if we need to, due to roof sizing and if we can't get these large panels in. So some of your older systems, you may have had when you were getting 65 cents, was it? 60 cents. So back on the old scheme when the government first brought it out, yes?
Do you use microinverters?
Microinverters? It depends on if you need the microinverters. So all new panels...
It's supposed to be safer.
Safer?
Less fires.
For fires, yes. So it depends on now, like all the new panels that come out now, they've got bypass diodes in them. So the microinverters, the whole point of microinverters was to, if half your panel got shaded or anything like that, the microinverter would then optimize the panel to make it work more efficiently. But now the newer panels these days, aren't really needing the microinverters or the optimizers. But again, like I said, we'll come out and do a site assessment, and when we do that site assessment, we bring our solar expert who's been doing this for the last 15 years. So he'll come out to site and assess your roof line and check everything out for you. So the technicians that we're using have been doing this for a very long time.
Just to answer your question about them being safer, the reason why is because microinverters, we run AC power to them. It requires less current draw. So a string system like that is DC power. It requires a lot of current to get back. So the current is what heats the cable up. And if you don't have good connections and you're not using good quality isolators, that's where your fires happen. So it generally comes down to poor installation. So if you get the good install by a good company, you should be no fires.
And that's another thing to think of. So yes, you can. It doesn't like with all these products. You can buy these products from anyone. At the end of the day, it really comes down to your installer, who's installing all these products, because anyone can go out there and purchase any of these stuff and install it for you. But it just really comes down to the actual installer themselves to make sure that they're going to be around for the next 2 to 3 years. Some other solar companies out there, when they do a big system like this, they'll do it and then they'll be gone and you won't see them ever again.
Where are they manufactured? China or Europe?
These ones are China, yes. Yeah.
This one's a Jinko panel?
Yeah, these are Jinko panels. So
25-year warranty. Yeah.
25 year. Yeah, so we can source any panels that you desire. So if you do request a different panel, but part of this bulk program, I guess we need to have a general consensus. If everyone's going to go with a similar panel, then that's what we're going to stick with them and that's what we'll install.
But in saying that, guys, anything is on the table. If you want anything, we can get it. It's just understand that it might be a high premium.
Yeah, there's an Adelaide-based company that does onshore manufacturing and everything with their panels that look great, but you've got to be real. It's about 35% to 40% more expensive for the same output.
And these panels here, the reason we bought this one in here is because this is probably the highest selling panel in Australia. There's flooded the market with them, and if they've been installed all across Australia with minimal issues, then it seems like a pretty good product. That's a real live test. But then again, we're not biased to any product. If you come to us with a product that you have in mind, we'll do the research, we'll find the right product for you guys. Yes?
It seems to me that there are two issues. I'm certainly sold in terms of the energy cost savings, but the other issue is the question of carbon neutrality. We may be reducing the amount of carbon that gets burnt here on the Mornington Peninsula, but that whole question of what are the environmental issues that are happening in terms of the life cycle of the manufacture and the disposing of the panel. And my particular concern with what's happening in China is that there are no occupational health and safety concerns being built into their manufacturing processes right across the board, and there are no environmental standards being applied whatsoever in those third world country slave labour manufacturing plants that have popped up in China and the other third world countries. That seems to me to be a very different issue that we need to take into account when it comes to the carbon neutrality of this program.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. As we've been speaking to a lot of people just like yourselves with the same mindset of doing this, we have come up with, and that's why Michael was touching on this Australian company that's popped its head up and started making these panels, because they are aligning with the same prospect of doing this. But like Michael was saying, that if we're going to go down that avenue, they're a newer company. They still provide the same amount of warranty, 25 years. They are based in Adelaide. So, we are trying to find companies like that. There's just not a lot in Australia at the moment.
I will just inject in there. So Solar Victoria won't allow us to use any. So you've got to remember, all the stuff that we do is approved products that's gone through rigorous testing, the modern slavery, all that sort of stuff. We can't purchase that stuff. Solar Victoria will not approve it. So we are assuming, because I don't answer every question because some of them are very complex, but if we're using products that have been rigorously tested and approved through Solar Victoria, we assume all that's being in check. Now, the Victorian Energy Upgrades Program, right? In order for us to do these upgrades and obtain rebates, we have to take it to EPA-approved recyclers. Okay, so there's a big problem with people ripping out old split systems. You've got the shitty refrigerants, right, that have huge impacts on the environment. People just throw them in there, throwing them out. They get squashed in landfill, and then all this stuff gets released. We can't just chuck them in landfill when we pull them out. They've got to go to EPA authorised facilities. It's got to get documented, signed by us, signed by them, and then it gets disposed of through an e-waste method. So there is a lot of checks in place around that, and we can only, we do our best, and we're very conscious of all this, and this is why the VEU are very strict in who they allow to do what and how we get these rebates. It's very hard to get these rebates. It's very hard to get a $2,000 rebate to give to the client. We give it to your point of sale, so you guys, it's a great transaction, you just get it, but there's a lot of work that we have to do in the background. Our admin teams, we've got a team of 7 admins who just do rebate compliance stuff.
What is the waste method that you're talking about?
The waste method?
Yes, of panels. So
This-
when they're recycled,
Yeah, so there's
they're tired and we get a new lot,
Yep.
and then they get tired and then there's a new lot of those. So
Yep.
there's continual recycling,
Yep.
rehabilitation of what's on the roof.
So we take anything that's called e-waste. So there's only 3, I think, approved e-waste facilities here in Victoria. And e-waste, they treat all the same. So it's electronic waste. Anything that has electronic parts in it has to go to an approved e-waste facility. And then they, depends on what it is, they'll recycle it to what the standards are. So they'll pull the panels to pieces. I know there's a company that just takes panels.
What does that mean?
You'd have to jump
Is that
into each.
another hole in the ground?
No.
What does it mean?
Well, you'd have to go into the e-waste. You're asking a whole different department there. I can handball you across to these approved e-waste facilities. Like the Shire, you go to the Mornington not to call it a tip.
The recycle centres.
Yeah, they've got an e-waste section there where you drop off your fridges and
Is it the same for batteries?
Yes, 100%. We can't just pick these things up and dump them anywhere. And this is why they're giving rebates, because they're trying to get companies who care, right, and dispose of it correctly. Because you could ask anyone to replace anything in your house, and if they're not going through a rebate system as such, you don't get the benefit. They don't have to do anything with it. They don't care. They'll just pick it up and throw it in where they feel like it, right? So this is why it's important to support the businesses that are going through these right processes. So it comes back down to the consumer. If the consumer understands that, and this is why we're setting up here today, guys. This is what we do many decarbonisations for shires, and they ask us to do it because we follow all the right processes. So if you were to just bring up, Joe Blow Electrical, again, not their fault. They just don't understand the process and the impacts that all this stuff has in climate, like all of the trades. One of our other side missions is we're going around to information nights to sole traders and other companies and trying to get them on board with this process, because it's really important. It's not just putting this stuff on your house, it's all the other stuff that goes with it. So if they're not doing it the right way, then you're right. What's the point of it there? There's a few more hands up.
Yeah, let's get some questions going.
Your model, you at the outset, you just described as having 8 kilowatts of solar on the roof. My understanding is that United Energy have limited the input into the system to 5 kilowatts per phase. Does that change your model at all?
No, so that's where we need to
How
know.
do you work around it?
So this system here, 8 kilowatts, so that's not putting back into the grid. So the inverters here, they can only put or feed in, they call it, they can only feed in a maximum of 5 kilowatts back into the grid. So if you aren't going to be using the solar, you can only, so if you've got 8 kilowatts, no one's home, you're generating 8 kilowatts, the inverter will only allow 5 kilowatts to go into the grid, and the rest of the power is just gone to waste. So if you're at home utilising this power, you can utilise 2 or 3 kilowatts of it, and if you're not using the rest of it, then 5 kilowatts will go back into the grid whilst you're using solar. So that's how the inverters work. Yes?
Isn't that why you have that batteries, the communal battery system? Is that supposed
Correct.
So you can have the 10 kilowatts and then you can feed back to those batteries?
Yeah,
Without going to waste?
there's still some workaround on how much the export limit will be allowed to go into this battery system. It's still in the early stages of development, working along with United Energy, because at the end of the day, United Energy are the ones, and the retailers are the ones who permit how much power is going back through the grid to where it needs to go to.
Because, can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Because when you were saying they'd only allow 5 kilowatt to go back into the grid, but sorry, I've just come from New South Wales. We've installed 3 systems already, so we're sort of a bit familiar. And with the limitations there, what they would do is if you generated more than, say, the 5 kilowatt, they shut your system down completely. So not only are you not using, not only are you not exporting, but you're also no longer generating.
Yeah, we have to set
Is that
export.
here
Yeah,
as well?
absolutely. Yep. Export limitation is really important for the infrastructure downstream.
Yeah.
You've got to think about it as it's a hard one. When you're trying to make it self-sufficient, but if you sorry, Siri. Listen. Yeah, we currently right now it's export limited to 5. So you've got a 20 kilowatt system. Like it annoys me. I've got quite a large system at home, and I've got to limit each phase to 5 kilowatts. And I'm watching it produce 20, and I'm only put the 5 back in, and I'm not home. So there's a bit of work to be done around that. They are running a trial. United Energy are putting batteries on the end of street poles. I don't know if you guys are aware of it. They're like the size of small fridges, and they're trying to do that so they can actually combat the export limitation. So we can have more batteries around. We can pump more back out because there's something that can capture it.
Let's make a comment there that although you might have an 8 kilowatt inverter, most of the time you won't get 8 kilowatts being generated. So a lot of the year you're a lot less than that, that's the maximum. So there's not as much waste, call it that, as it seems.
Yeah.
And you got losses. You got losses. So 8 kilowatts on the roof, a bit of shade. It's producing 6 really. That thing can only capture 5. So yeah, we always overload your roof system to the actual inverter. For that reason, for winter, for example, if you've got 20 kilowatts on the roof, you might only be able to capture 10. The more you've got, the more you can capture. Yeah. Yes.
With monotonous regularity, we've had a vulnerability to outages over the years. Will the battery here in Flinders reduce our vulnerability to those grid outages or not?
Depends on how it's set up. I'm going to probably say no, it won't. Unless it's a
We
UPS.
could add to that if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
The short answer is no. It's not been set up to come in when there's a power outage. It's not big enough and it's connected to what's called one subnet. So the purpose of this battery is it's often called a solar soaker. So taking solar energy generated in that area of Flinders to charge the battery and then to use it in the evening, which reduces the demand on the grid. And it also will generate a small income for the community. And just by the way, that area that will feed this battery is sort of up towards northwestish, up Norman Street towards Barker's Road, and down southeastish towards King Street. So there's a number of houses there which will be feeding the battery. And there's not a lot of solar there at the moment, about 20 homes, I think. So those people are really keen for them to get more solar to make this battery work even better for the community.
Could I just say one thing too about our distribution company, United Energy? Now they work in, well, they're part of the same company that includes City Power and Powercorp. And they have been running public sessions and sessions involving groups like ours to assess how they can best overcome some of these problems in the future. And they're doing a massive amount of research to overcome some of the problems. They're looking at home batteries, restriction on exports, all sorts of things that will overcome the problem but not cause major inconvenience to households. So a lot of people are cynical about these companies. Now, they're not producing the power, they're just transmitting it. But they are committed to coming up with solutions to many of these problems. I'm quite impressed with the work they're doing.
So just the other question, given that supply issue, I know that there are diesel, petrol backups for that short-term outages. Do you guys also deal with that technology?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so there's just you set up a secondary point supply for your home. You do it all through Flinders Regional, through Regional Main Ridge. There are battery UPS options, but they're very expensive. You can get a 15 kilowatt battery with the UPS, which means that if you do have a power outage, your house is still functioning, still supplying power. Most solar systems inverters, like this string inverter here, just if you lose power, if the inverter loses power, the whole system shuts down. And that's essentially how this community battery will work as well. It needs grid power for it to be functional, right? But there are systems out there that can do exactly that. And there's otherwise you've got your diesel generators that do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I've got two systems. I've got two systems. I've got one on the shed and one on my house. And I've got two inverters, two solar systems. So do you come and find, I maybe only need it fine-tuned, or maybe I need new things. So is that what you'll come and help out?
Absolutely, yeah, guys. We're here to educate, help with your needs. Everyone's different. Everyone's house is different. Everyone has a different motivation. It could be for health. It could be for whatever it is. We're here to talk to and establish this plan. And this is where we'll come and go. Hey, what's your problems? How can we help? And, yeah.
And just with the older systems, just be aware, like with the electrical industry, as they make amendments to clauses and wiring rules, they don't force it on everyone's existing installations, but when we do revisit and make changes, we have to bring everything up to regulations. So although we might be just doing a fine tune, we might be going, oh, we have to add these tags here and there, we have to redo that component. So it's not a upsell activity where we're trying to extract as much money. It's just for us to stay in the BEU program, we have to adhere to these in every aspect of our business. So when it comes to revisiting old ones, we will bring it up to best practice and bring it up to specs.
Okay.
The idea that I've read about, and I don't know whether it actually works, but there's talk that you could, if you buy the right electric car, that you can use that as your battery?
It's called bi-directional charging. It's been around, the tech's been there for years. Our government, our Energy Safe Victoria, there's a legislation gap that won't allow us to do it. It's technically, you plug, so what it is, guys, is you've got a 75 kilowatt battery in your car, which is awesome. You charge it up free somewhere, come home, plug it in your house. It's a massive battery UPS system for your home. That'd be awesome. Tech's there, all the stuff's there. Here in Victoria, or here in Australia actually, when you plug your car into your house, it's called prescribed electrical works, and technically you need to have an inspector there to sign it off so you can feed power back into your house. So that's the rule currently. It's like us hooking a generator. It's exactly the same. It's called a secondary supply to your home. They've just got to figure it out. I've been waiting 4 years. They keep telling us next year. But so if you are going to buy a car, and that's important, you get a car that has bi-directional charging abilities. Tesla doesn't have it, so you think of that. They won't do it because they got their power walls. It conflicts with some of their other products. So they will eventually have to do it because they'll lose the market. But yeah, get that because I've been told it's not 12 months away.
South Australia has it? Does South Australia have to?
All Australia operate on the same standard. Yeah.
They are trying it in New South Wales.
Oh, sorry?
They are trying.
They've got some trials, yeah. Okay, so there might be some small. It's odd how they can do trials and not allow to go through other areas, yeah.
What sort of maintenance backup we might have in 5 years' time if we put in a system like that from you?
Yep.
So what sort of backup do we get? We know that it's actually working efficiently in 2 or 5 or 6 years' time.
Yeah, well, so ESB, they recommend that you have your solar inspected every 2 years, just for a general health check.
But who do you
So
contact? The person that put it in?
We can
or?
definitely offer that. If that's important to you guys. We do a lot of solar maintenance for clients when they ask us if you've got another problem. We get up there, we clean your panels. You'd be surprised a couple of years if you don't clean your panels, just that small layer of dust on there, we can generally get about 20% more out of them if we give them clean. Check connections, yes, fires do happen generally because of loose connections, so all that gets checked over, make sure your outputs are set. Sometimes you might have a cracked panel in here if you wanted to know because people don't do that there. So we can definitely offer a biannual solar maintenance package, no problem. Yep.
This coastline's got a lot of wind. Are we getting any further ahead with more domestic size type wind generators?
I have no expertise in that area, sorry.
There's certainly something that would level out.
Yeah, sorry mate, I've got, not quite there in my work.
Yeah. Can we put it down on your list?
All right, yeah, we'll put it down. I've seen some turbines that actually don't have wings. They just tunnel through a turbine.
I've actually looked a lot at this, so I'm a massive nerd when it comes to all these things. Because I was thinking about this a long time ago, especially when you were discussing, I guess, the recycling component of solar panels and the natural degradation life cycle. And I was thinking, all right, what if we had a whole bunch of highly efficient, like DC engines that were wind turbine generators in a micro capacity, because the city is full of wind tunnels. Problem with that is when you start multiplying all your mini tunnels, you start to create this crazy vibration of noise. And a little one plus a little one plus a little one plus collectively becomes, it's just noise pollution. So until they come up with a way, and I think there are different ways where you can clip fan blades in a particular way to reduce sound, but until they sort of master that component, that won't really be feasible.
So it's one a sparky, one a heat pump, one a windmill. You heard it first here. I'm going to wind this up because we had an hour and we want you to get out in the sun, which is just gone. Sorry about that. I want to thank Trent and Josh and Mike for coming today. It's really good to hear what you've done. What they got is really impressive. I'm impressed and I enjoy this sort of stuff. And thank you for coming. We hope you keep engaged with this. And we are planning to run some forums to discuss various things in this space, not just solar. So we have a mailing list which you can get to through our website. Please do put your name down if you haven't. And Mark, are we really offering anybody tea and coffee?
Well, we put your hands up if you'd like a tea or coffee.
You have tea or
You can chat with the guys from All Electric Homes.
Yeah, so we're not getting really just that if those who would like to leave, feel comfortable leaving. I think these guys will hang around, want to chat, or sit there and ask questions. We're happy to keep going. And if you do want a tea or coffee, there is a little kitchen there, there's a hot water thing, and Mike's put some tea or coffee there.
I was going to say that John acknowledged the assistance we've had from the Shire, and we have a Shire representative here today, Steph Delaney. Are you staying for a little while, Steph?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Steph is the Carbon Facilitation Officer in the Climate Action team at Mornington Peninsula Shire. If you've got any questions about the work that they're doing, Steph will be happy to answer. But we have to acknowledge that they've been a great assistance to us in our battery project and in our other projects. So, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. So thank you to these guys, but please thank you.